September 2023 has had the lowest amount of sales in the GTA over the last 20 years. It's actually super rare to have less sales in the month of September than we do have in the month of August, but this occurred this month. This occurred this year, 2023, and it's very interesting to see how this fall market is evolving. Hey guys, it's Daniel from the King Realty Group. We've helped hundreds of people move in and out of the city, and we're here with some information for you. We're reviewing September 2023 Toronto Real Estate Board numbers. We're going to take a look at a couple charts here to help us understand what's going on in this marketplace, and I'll give you some suggestions as well a little bit later on. Let's jump into our dot graph right away. So here it is. We're looking at the progression of our price over time. This chart is actually showing you monthly average prices all the way from June 2019. And you see kind of where we're at right now. We're looking at the latest numbers, which is in September. You see that in this year, we've had, since the beginning of the year, a bit of an increase into the spring market. We dropped quite a bit into the month of August. And we did have a bit of an uptick in terms of average price from month to month, from July to August, which is good. That's encouraging. It means the price point kind of went up. And that could be due to particular sales that maybe were at higher prices. So that, again, it's not necessarily a trend. We're going to have to see how the October numbers look to be able to really see if we're in any different type of trend. I think the biggest thing for me is the sales piece that we're going to take a look at when we review month to month, because that really tells a bigger story here. But yeah, I mean, I guess from August to September, we did have a bit of an uptick in price. I would say it's not super significant, but let's see how that kind of progresses into time. So yeah, we're actually in a really weird place now in the Toronto real estate market. Our sales volume has dropped dramatically. Usually the fall market have a bit of a resurgence. It's the second biggest market after springtime, and usually we have a lot of activity. Right now we're at like 50% or maybe even under 50% of the usual volume that we get. So let's continue on and take a look at some more info here. All right, so I have on the screen now our month-to-month numbers. This compares us to the month of August. Let's take a look at how this is broken down for the month of September. So for detached homes in the GTA here, we're talking all regions. We've had 2,149 sales, guys, and that's average total price of 1.44. We have about 8,400 active listings, which is interesting to note because it's quite a bit of a difference between last month. We have a rise in inventory for sure. Semi-detaches, we've had 402 sales, 1,094,074 is the average price, and we've had 1,079 active properties at the moment. That's going to become important soon. Townhomes, we've had 741 sales. Average price here is 941,695, and we've have about 2,755 active listings at the moment. Condos, 1,307 sales, 707,065 is the average price, and we have 6,500 active listings. That's quite a bit of active listings. It's obviously been on the rise. The interesting thing though is that from August to September, we have a decrease in sales. So we actually have less sales in September than we do August. That never happened. So that's one interesting stat that I'm going to emphasize today. And also the fact that if we compare September 2023 to previous Septembers, it was the lowest sales volume in September for almost the last couple decades, which is incredible. It's, way less than we normally sell. So that's interesting because it shows you what the buyers are doing right now. So interesting that sales actually dropped, but our average price slightly increased, and we saw that in the chart previous, right? This is the next piece that I think is very important for us to kind of focus on here. It is our months of inventory. Months of inventory is on the rise, and you can see our little guide here that a buyer's market is 6 months or more, a balanced market is from 4 to 6 months, and a seller's market is from 1 to 3 months. You see here that condos, guys, are well in the balanced market range, and I can attest to that because as a buyer, you have a lot of options right now, and you can negotiate directly with the seller, and we're actually securing lower price points than we have in the last while. Okay, so prices are coming down a bit, and so sellers have to adjust if they want to sell their properties, and that means that buyers have more opportunities in condos. Now, I would say that that's true for all other property types, but it just depends on the location that you're in. There are some pockets that are definitely still hot. You might even still run into competition with people. And this makes sense because, the numbers show that we're still technically in a seller's market. I know some of them are kind of creeping up into that 4 months, detached and townhomes specifically, semis not so much based on these numbers. Let's look at this, right? We're going to be focusing on this month of inventory in the months to come, because my feeling is that we're going to be crossing into balanced markets and possibly buyer's markets with different property types in the near future, guys, okay? So very interesting to see that. Okay, so there you have it, guys. We see that we did have a bit of an increase in average price from August to September, but the biggest story is the fact that we have a declining sales in September, and also the fact that in the month of September we've had the lowest sales in many, many years. So that's definitely telling us a story, and it's the reason why we're seeing our month of inventory increase, and we're seeing now a lot of different property types in different regions of the GTA crossing into balanced, and maybe in the future into a buyer's market. Very interesting stuff. Let's take a look at our year-to-year data. Okay, so we're taking a look at our year-to-year comparisons. You see here that in the month of September, we have less sales in 2023 than we did in 2022, and that makes sense because I just finished telling you that this is one of the lowest Septembers on record. Let's take a look at the average price. So average price here did increase slightly. We have 1.19 versus 1.086 from last year. And you see here that our sales actually dropped by 7%. So very interesting to see that. Obviously we know why, and I'll talk a little bit more to that in a sec. Inventory is up, so new listings are definitely a lot higher than last year, and active listings are up quite a bit as well. We're in that 40% range increase, new and active listings. Average price point went up by 3%, okay, but that's maybe a little bit deceiving compared to what we're seeing on the marketplace right now. And I'm not surprised as well. Actually, I'm a little bit surprised. I think these numbers are going to turn around real soon. We have less days on the market in 2023 than we did in 2022. It's going to be interesting to kind of take a look at the days on the market in the next couple months. I think that this might actually start switching up as well. Okay, we might see that there's going to be more time on the market when you're trying to list properties going forward. So very interesting stuff here. Taking a look at year over year, we have an increase in inventory quite a bit, and we have a decrease in sales. That means, you know, we're crossing into a territory where it's more balanced, and buyers have more options, and sellers got to be more realistic, and they got to be making adjustments to their strategy and their price points for sure. Okay, guys, so there you have it. We have discussed now our month-to-month changes, our year-over-year changes. We took a look at our doc graph. We have an idea of where we got here, how we got here, and let me try to explain why we got here, right? So this is one thing that's very interesting that I think you guys should definitely remember, is that this is not a surprise at all. Like the fact that, you know, sales volume is down, property inventory is increasing. All this type of stuff is not a surprise. I kind of anticipated all this. I think if you watch any of my month videos, I think every single month we were kind of inching towards this direction. I kind of was warning people. I was saying, you know, if you're a seller, you should probably be on the market sooner rather than later. Things are not going to get better for you. Well, recently in October, the interest rate was held because we had some positive inflation numbers, but we're probably going to be in a high interest environment for the majority of 2024. I don't know when we're going to see an interest rate decrease, and for that reason, this is why we're seeing stats reveal themselves the way that they have. The fact that there's more inventory in the marketplace, the fact that, you know, buyer behavior is still kind of on the downside. You know, people are still struggling to qualify for mortgages because of these higher interest rates. I mean, a lot of these rates are in the high 6s, even low 7s now. People are getting stress tests at 9%. I mean, it's really tough to actually get an approval here in Canada, and then the monthly expense is quite high because of their interest rates. And this is the reason why not a lot of people are jumping into the market. However, I want to give you a different perspective, guys. As a buyer, you know, you are getting now into a much better price point. And I think that these interest rates are temporary. If we can kind of get through this moment and you're able to kind of handle those prices, likely there's going to be a lot better if you have 20% down or more. It doesn't look as great when you have less than 20%. If you're able to manage these payments on a monthly basis, then I think that in the future, you know, you're going to be pleasantly surprised, because I think you're going to see that prices likely are going to turn around and go on the upside at some point down the line. I'm an advocate of buying property for a longer term. It's not a short-term investment. Likely you're just moving into this property that you want to live in. But if that's the case, I think that there's opportunities for you. And I think that in the next couple of months, we might actually see even better pricing than we are today. So be ready, you know, get your mortgage approval in place. Have your cash ready, you know. Investors, same sort of idea here, okay? You can jump in. If you're able to put the 20% or more down, there's opportunities. My preference for an investor right now is going just outside of the city, taking a look at maybe Niagara region or maybe in the East End, cities that have already allowed the ability to build garden suites in your backyard, seeing if there's a possibility to get a property with it that allows for that, and also allows you to do a basement apartment, for example. Now you have a property with 3 units on it, and that's probably the best play out there. In the city of Toronto, it works as well, because you can buy, you know, in that 900 to 1.1 range, find a semi, you know, in the Junction area, Little Italy, I don't know, places like this. turn those into 3-4 units, I mean, that's probably the best play. You can do it all legally, and the Ontario and a lot of the municipalities are starting to allow this, and they have a lot of bylaws already written, so the criteria is set up for you. Okay, for sellers, guys, again, I'm still going to say sooner rather than later. We're still in the month of October, November coming up soon. I'd rather be on the market in October, November than December, because December is traditionally a lot slower, and then overall things are slower right now, and you got to be really realistic about your price point. You likely are not going to get a May or June price even from 2023. I think things are pretty much lower everywhere. So you got to be really conscious of that and choose your strategy correctly. All right. And, sometimes there's no second chances here with listings. Okay. Like dropping price doesn't make your listing look better. I think, from the get-go, you should probably list right. And I think a lot of sellers understand what's going on. Most consumers here in the GTA market kind of know that this is happening in the real estate market. And so a lot of sellers are actually opting for, sell now prices, which would be maybe a little bit lower than they would have listed for maybe a few months ago. Okay. We don't want to be stuck on the market, guys. Things are sitting on the marketplace right now, so you got to be really, really careful as a seller. All right, guys. So this was your market stats update here for September. I really appreciate you guys joining in and sticking with me. Send a DM below. Also, take a look at our buttons to book a call with us if you have any specific questions, guys, because these are broad numbers. We're looking at all GTA. What's happening in Durham could be different than what's happening in Peel region, and what's happening in Vaughan and Richmond Hill, York region, etc. Toronto, different little micro markets are operating differently too. So if you want specific information, what's going on for you guys, get in touch, and we'll get you all that info. All right, have a great day. Talk soon. Bye.